Hi guys, and welcome back to CE Rocketry. Today we'll be talking about a new project that we have in the works.
So we have decided to develop a TVC rocket. For those who don't know what TVC is, it stands for Thrust Vector Control.
Most model rockets use fins for stability, but TVC is different.
When a rocket gimbals its engines, it induces a moment around the center of mass of the rocket, which introduces an acceleration on the rocket, which in turn keeps the rocket rotated onto its correct path.
While thrust vector control is used on large-scale rockets all the time, it's not always practical on model rockets just because fins are generally a lot easier to use. With that being said though, there are some model rocket enthusiasts that have began utilizing TVC on their rockets, such as Joe Barnard.
Now, Joe Barnard is somewhat of a pioneer of this field of model rocketry. His final goal with this project is actually to land a model rocket, which is crazy difficult, but he's kind of inspired a lot of people to start doing thrust vector control on their model rockets, including us. So there's a small community that started with Discord servers and such. So we have people to gain information from and to share information with as well.
So for our development process, both me and Connor are working on basically separate components of this TVC project, and then we're going to bring them together for the actual launch and everything like that.
So the first component would be the TVC mount itself. I have our first prototype right here. This is what actually gimbals the rocket motor based off of the commands that are given by the flight computer. Basically, there are two servos, one on each axis, and then depending on how off axis the rocket is, the flight computer will send a certain orientation or a certain angle to the servo, which results in the orientation of the motor mount, which produces that thrust vector in control. So as I just mentioned, the second component that we have to create is the flight computer. Now this will be done possibly with an Arduino, but most likely going to get a Teensy board, which is kind of like an Arduino, but a lot more powerful. The flight computer will contain things like the inertial measurement unit and barometers and such, that it can take in flight data, understand where it is, where it's pointed at, and then make corrections based on that information.
And the final piece of our TVC puzzle is the launch pad, which I'm going to be building. So it's also going to be based on our Arduino as far as the whole computer system behind it. But basically all it's going to be is a platform that has some sort of flame trench to divert all the exhaust and some clamps that'll hold down the rocket so it's straight on the pad, and then the computer will then light the motor and let it go.
So another thing that we have to create is a lot of code. Now, I've already started work on a simulation. Essentially, to put it simply, these thrust vector control rockets oftentimes rely on PID control. And I created a simulation that lets us input our rocket's specifications, such as the moment of inertia and the weight and which engine we're using and whatnot. And this way we can tune our PID rates to the most efficient form of flight correction.
So that's about it for our TVC project. Since it is winter break now, we have a lot more time, so we are planning to work a lot on this project over break. And so look forward to seeing just vlogs by me and Connor about our various components that we're working on.